So, what's the unexpected purpose of our lives? I've been talking a lot about the near death experiences on my channel lately, and I've noticed that there is a common theme. There is a pattern going on. And I guess for some of us, it's going to be unexpected. There's quite a few of them. I'm going to reveal one right now, and then we'll go through it. And then at the end, we'll go through this is it. But one of them, surprisingly, is what we do. What we do on the daily is one of the unexpected purposes of our life. So that means what you do, for example, as a job, what you go and do every day. I know that sounds simple, but there's more to it. So listen to this. Remember, I talked about Dr. Eben Alexander's near death experience story and his unexpected purpose of life that he came up with and concluded was that life is rooted in love. Okay, I don't think that's that unexpected. That makes sense. But the other thing he said was the interconnectedness of all of us, not just like surviving every day and going to work or material successes. Of course, we know that because you can't take what you have with you, right? But it's the interconnectedness of all things. And so if you think about kind of what's going on, this is why I can't watch certain social media channels because it's just fighting and people being hateful to each other and just negative things. And sometimes it's easy to get sucked into that, like doom scrolling. But like, what's the opposite of hate and fighting? Well, it's love, unity, and interconnectedness, right? So that's not that surprising. But, and then Dr. Neal, she's the one that was kayaking and was submerged underwater, and she had an amazing near-death experience. And she said the unexpected purpose of life was, again, aligning with love, right? We've got a theme here, but also compassion and service to others rather than personal achievement and personal success. So why I bring in like what you do every day as a job. So when you're there at work, instead of like, how can I succeed? How can I climb the ladder? Which we need to do to survive on the earth and pay for groceries and rent. But also, like, how can you help your colleague or the person sitting next to you who's struggling? Maybe ask them, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Or that customer that's really upset, instead of fighting with them and saying, I'll match your energy, how about instead saying, it looks like you've had a really bad day. Listen, I'm going to help you. What can I do to help you out? I would rather be seeing that online, wouldn't you? So, of course, that's aligning with love, compassion, service to others. And she was surprised, Dr. Neal was surprised by the emphasis on returning to Earth to complete specific tasks, such as raising her children. Okay, so all of you out there that are parents and you're raising your children, yeah, that's one of our true purposes of life. Yeah, so don't feel bad about that you don't have some white collar, high paying job or, some job that you can have outside the home besides raising your kids. Raising children is a purpose of life. So there's some validation there based on her near death experience. Okay. And so, of course, she wanted to share her experience with others. We know that. Now, Dr. Grayson, a lot of you know that. That's the psychiatrist who studied near death experiences for over 40 years. Remember, he was a skeptic and then he turned really open-minded, right? So he said, as far as the unexpected purposes of life, that, of course, here's a common theme: learning to love, recognizing interconnectedness with others, and the universe itself, that we are not just this big blue marble floating around in space. Ourselves, the people on this planet, our planet itself, we're all connected to the whole universe. We are all connected, right? And isn't that interesting that quite a few of these NDEs are saying interconnectedness, right? I do love that. Of course, Dr. Grayson did mention that many near-death experiencers, like professionals, like doctors, like myself, after they had that, they stopped pursuing the ladder of success, wealth, and they started valuing compassion and relationships, like calling on your friends and organizing just like a party out of the blue. You don't have to have a holiday or celebrate anything, just, get the girls together. Or if you're a guy, get the guys together, like just when it's not expected. Because when you're laying there on your deathbed, are you going to care about how successful your company was? Or are you going to care about, like, I'm so glad I was there for my kids or my best friend or when they really needed me? Doesn't that make a lot of sense? The true purpose of life? So, Dr. Jeffrey Long, radiation oncologist, right? He founded the Near Death Experience Research Foundation. He's got a lot of medical literature. So he concluded that the unexpected purpose of life was to embrace love and connection, right? Is a theme here. And being part of a greater whole. So, don't just lone wolf it out there. Get to know your neighbors. Get involved in community events, right? Unity is going to help us survive as a people and a species. All this separation and divisiveness and division by what we look like or how much money we make or where we live, that's going to tear us apart. It's unity. Unity is one of the core foundations of the purpose of life, right? According to NDEs. Yeah. Dr. Mary Jo Rapini, a clinical psychologist, her unexpected purpose of life is to learn love unconditionally and to serve others, right? We've got that theme going again. And this was a stark contrast prior to her focus on NDEs when she had initial skepticism. And she said she was surprised by the clarity of this mission of serving others and the sense that life is very temporary and there's an opportunity to grow spiritually while we're here, right? And I think about that a lot, like the afterlife. What will we do in the afterlife? I know I kind of am so looking forward to going into the Hall of Records or the Akashic Records. I imagine it as this huge library with never-ending halls and books. I'm very, very attracted to libraries, by the way. I love books. I love libraries. I love when I go to other cities. I love touring libraries. I like looking at libraries on Pinterest. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with libraries. So I kind of think in the afterlife, I'm going to be hanging out in the Akashic Records, but at least, part-time. And so growing spiritually on the other side, I just think it would be, I don't know, the mission would be to do it here because it would be so much harder in the materialistic world to get outside of ourselves and our physical needs, to be able to come together and to show love when it's so hard to show love. Like you have that customer or that patient that's just yelling at you or angry at you. And I always have to remind myself, they're in pain. They came in here, they're not expecting this diagnosis or their loved one, has cancer and they're going to take it all out on you. And I have to remember, like, it's not about you, right? It's just, how can I show grace and patience and show that, like, we're all in this together? Yeah. So universal pattern here, right? Yeah. So what are the common themes then? What is the true purpose of life? The unexpected purpose. So get this, consciousness beyond the brain. So this is unexpected. There is a main theme besides love, unity, interconnectedness. It's realizing consciousness exists beyond the brain. So like Dr. Eben Alexander, and Dr. Grayson, they realize that consciousness does persist after physical death. With modern medicine, Dr. Alexander was brought back. But after physical death, consciousness existing outside the brain. So our brains, radios, just being able to kind of tap in to this woven web of consciousness that is everything in the universe, right? Everything is a consciousness, and then we can kind of cross these fields and get into like this physical plane. Oh, my dog's right there. So I was like, what is that noise? What are you doing, Bookie? What are you doing? Anyway, so the other pattern is that challenging materialistic paradigms and having a deeper non-physical purpose to existence. So it's just a good thing that I do to remind myself every day. When you have all these bills to pay and you have a to-do list to do, and it's like, okay, what are my goals for today? Like what, how can I grow a little bit today? And I know every day is not easy. I have to remind myself too, but sometimes I have to slow down and it's doing videos like these kind of help me remember every day, having patience, showing love when it's so hard to show love, right? Sometimes it's really hard. Like when you're out there in the public and people can just be so angry and mean. But most of the time, I have to say, most of the time, people are very courteous and friendly. It's just that it's always that small percentage that just ruins your day, and that's what you obsess about, right? And that's why the news is so popular. It's the negative that gets people all riled up and angry, right? I talk to a lot of my friends. They're like, I can't even watch the news anymore. It's not part of their schedule anymore. Yeah, I get it. So we have, okay, what are the common themes of the purpose of life because of near death experiences? Love and interconnectedness, that there may be consciousness beyond the brain, universal patterns, right? So we have a pattern with NDEs, right? They see the tunnel of life, they get a life review, they have encounters with loving beings. And so this suggests a universal truth about life's purpose, right? Like the universe is knocking on our door, especially now. And I think because we're about to have a huge transformation with AI, that it's going to just rock our world. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. We're gonna enter some really interesting times, enlightened times, and really hard times all together at once. And the transformation of priorities being the other unexpected insight. So you have so many people that have had NDEs and they just transfer their priorities, completely delve into relationships, family and friends, service to others, spiritual growth. And I just love these. So I kind of wanted to bring that up because, I've been talking about NDEs, but like there is a common theme going on right now with these truths. Some of them are unexpected. I think that I see a lot of shows talking about that there is just this woven consciousness that is the basis of all reality. And that's where quantum physics comes up, right? It's all these experience. And that even, here's a question, can AI tap into this universal consciousness? I don't know. That's a good one. Good one to think about. Okay. Thanks for being here. See you on the next one.